what you think about your brand and what you believe in for your brand is what your audience is going to reflect back to you. So that's why it's good to define the kind of brand you want to share. What do you want it to be known for? And then really understand how to mirror your audience.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Okay, Be It Babe. This is the podcast for your business that you always needed. So I know a lot of you are trying to start a thing, you have a thing, and you get stuck. You get in your own way. And my guest today, the reason why I freaking love her is that she is brilliant, beyond brilliant when it comes to the strategies and ways to communicate who you are and what you do. But she also has this equal way of being energetic and like who you are and affirmative and meditative. And so I really love her because sometimes I feel like the business world can just feel extremely masculine, and it's a lot of like, do, and just like spit this out and do this thing. And she is very much like what's on your heart and what's on their heart and how do we actually connect those? So she is the one and only Hilary Hartling. She is amazing. If you've been listening to the podcast for over 3 years, you heard an episode from her already. I promise you, this is another amazing episode. So even if this is the second time you're listening to her, your mind will be blown. I adore her, and you're going to want to do the meditation that she has. I totally know it. I'm downloading it. So here she is, Hilary Hartling. All right, Be It Babe. It's been a while since we've had today's epic guest, but I honestly look for any time that I can be in this woman's amazing spaces because she is wonderful. She's amazing. She is a rock star in so many ways. And she's going to blow your mind when it comes to branding. So Hilary Hartling, can you tell everyone who you are and what you rock at?
Oh my gosh, what a welcome. Thank you, Lesley. And yes, I'm happy to be on Be It To See It again. But I'm a brand and messaging strategist for the modern entrepreneur, everyone who is mission-driven, passion-fueled, and is excited about attracting the right fit clients to their business with the right positioning, messaging, and offers. So that's what I do for entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And you do it so well, and you do it in a way that doesn't feel like cookie cutter or not authentic. Like I think when people think branding, we talked about this the last time you were on, they think colors, logo, fonts.
It's true. A lot of times people just aren't, they don't have to know everything about marketing and branding, right? Like that's why I exist as a branding expert. It's like they need to be educated about what's included, what's involved in branding your business. And the most out there thing for people to see first might be a logo, might be colors, or might even be like a tagline, right? So, but there's so much more that goes into it. And I try to really find out from each individual business owner, whether it be like, I'm doing a group program with my course or I'm doing one-on-one. I always want to find out what the vision is for that business owner so we can translate that into a unique brand for them. Even if I'm working with a ton of photographers, right? They're all photographers. They're all going to have a very individual, unique brand because that's the point of creating a brand.
Yeah.
So it stands out.
Yeah. And I think like when I think about Be It Till You See It, I feel like the way you talk about branding, the way that you see it, it is almost Be It Till You See It with your brand, because you're kind of figuring out like, how do I want people to feel? How do I want them to what do I want their experience to be? And the business that I'm creating that they haven't yet had yet.
Yeah, I feel like my whole business as a brand and messaging strategist is I'm helping these business owners be it, their brands be it, so that they can articulate their most authentic selves, step into their personal power, build a brand that really, truly resonates with their ideal audience. So And it comes from my belief too, that I think every brand has an energy to it, and every business owner has an energy. And that is what radiates out. When you focus on harnessing that energy, that's when you captivate your audience.
Yeah. So, okay, before we get like ahead of ourselves, how did you get into this? In case people haven't listened, like, I don't know, my God, 3 years ago. Let's remind everyone your amazing journey.
Yeah, I mean, I really started the bulk of my career in corporate for a Fortune 50 company that a lot of people have heard of. It was at Disney. I worked for 15 years at Disney as an integrated marketing and synergy executive. But within that role, everything in my role at Disney sort of led me to what I'm doing now for entrepreneurs. It's really this idea of understanding a brand and what it takes to not only be consistent, but to continually inspire your audience, create fans, and keep them coming back for more. So anything that you could learn from like the Disney brand, you can apply that to your own small business. That's what's really cool.
I mean, I think it's so true because it's like, first of all, getting the first customer is the hardest part. Like getting someone to trust you enough to spend dollars with you is so difficult. But then you've got to also keep them coming back for more. And sometimes people get so obsessed with just continuing to get new customers versus like inspire their current clients to still participate in the brand. I want to go into the energy a bit more because I feel like people don't think of it like that. They think this is my business. These are my goals. This is what I'm here to do. And they don't take into account their energy. And so how did you figure that out? What was that experience like when you discovered it's an energy?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been into energy, so there's that. But honestly, like, I call it the reciprocal energy flow, right? It's like the energy you put out is what you get back. And that leads to all the things, right? What you think about your brand and what you believe in for your brand is what your audience is going to reflect back to you. So that's why it's good to define the kind of brand you want to share. What do you want it to be known for? And then really understand how to mirror your audience, right? So that you are understanding what they need and you're meeting them where they're at, but that you don't, as a business owner, because sometimes, it's up and down with businesses and entrepreneurship. We know this.
Yep.
But when you find yourself in that rut, how do you pull yourself out of it? Because that rut can lead to more rut if your negative energy is being put out there.
Yeah.
So it's like energy to me is everything, because energy is the feeling. Energy is the experience. You can't captivate or enchant or delight your audience unless you know what's going to make them perk up and pay attention, what's going to hit them in their heart center, right? Like really tugging on those heartstrings. Like if you watch Super Bowl commercials, like I wasn't actually overly impressed this year, but
I skipped them. I figured the best ones would come forward.
the ones that always get me is like the Clydesdales for Budweiser. And this year it was like this little baby Clydesdale who was jealous of like the big full grown ones who got to carry the cart with all of the Budweiser kegs. But there was a keg that fell off the back. And he's like, I'm going to do it. And he jumped the fence and he rolled that sucker all the way to the destination. It was like, I did it. And it was like, it's just so cute and so fun. But anyways, anything that can tug on your heartstrings, that's an energy. You're deciding the energy you want to create with your brand, with your audience. And it's the energy that's going to pull people in, right? That's what's becoming magnetic for your audience. It's all about the energy, like I think everything is. But you won't find yourself in your flow unless you've decided to define what you want that energy to be for your brand.
Yes. And I love you highlighted, like if you're in a rut and that's energy you're putting out there, that's just going to lead to more ruts because like the attraction, how many of the clients do you really want that are also attracted to a rut?
Yeah. Like if you're going around saying every single day, like, well, this just isn't working for me, right? Well, then you're going to attract people who doesn't think your service works for them. And so they're not going to buy it.
Right. And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because that's who you're surrounding with.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm obsessed. Okay. So first of all, I think the other thing that I want to highlight you said is like the energy that they want to feel, what's going to tug on their heartstrings. I find a lot of people as they're trying to create what they want to be their brand, or maybe they're in it, I find they get really stuck on what do the people want? What do the people need? I actually think that they know. I think deep down they know. I think they're a
Mm-hmm.
little scared to admit it because then what if they're wrong? Or like, what if they, now that they know, what do they do with this information? But how do we figure out like what's pulling on the heartstrings? Is it like a series of questions we ask? Is it something about ourselves? Is it what our brand is doing? Because most people, they focus on, here's my process. You book this call, then I do this with you, and then you buy this thing. And it's like that's great. You need a journey, but that's
Right.
not what people are buying. They don't want the journey.
I mean, it's really, it is what Simon Sinek says. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The why becomes your brand story. The why becomes the why of your clients too. It's focusing on, I've said this so many times with you and your audience, right? It's focusing on the benefits first, right? Not just the features or the process. That'll come. But the benefits, that's the thing that's like, what do you really, really want? Right. And I've done this comparison before. Like when I think back to my Disney days, I remember walking into these huge marketing meetings to kick off a new film that we're going to be working on. It's usually like a year out from release. And I remember, like, here's one example. We had a slew of sports movies for a long time, Remember the Titans and Miracle. And we walk into the one about the rookie, which is Dennis Quaid, and he's the oldest baseball player to make the majors. And we sit down at the table, and it's a big joke at this time because we've done so many of these movies. And they're like, okay, it's not a baseball movie. I'm like, okay, right. It's not, we have to remember this. It's not a baseball movie. No, it's a movie about second chances and never giving up on your dreams.
Mm.
Okay. It's not about the thing. It's about why people would care.
Mm.
Okay. That's what you need to focus on for your branding.
Yeah. I love this. It's almost like you can't use what you do as part of the definition.
Right. That gets you so far is like, you have to be clear in your branding, right? A super big believer in, you need to clearly state what you do and who it's for, but that's just a positioning. That's not the inspirational part. That's not the why.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what they take away from it. You have to think about the whole idea of what is keeping your ideal client up at night that they're so worried about that they're not getting right with that thing you can help with, and go from there. And a lot of times it does help to start from a pain point, because if you just tell them the beautiful, amazing end result, they're not going to believe it unless you relate with them on why they're struggling right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that means you have to be vulnerable.
Yes. Yes. There's something, I'm in the midst right now. I'm updating and evolving my course called Brand Polish Academy. And one thing I'm going to add that I'm very excited about is some AI prompts for people, because once you know your brand strategy, you can put that into ChatGPT and it can spit you out so many amazing ideas for your brand. You have to make sure they're in your voice. You don't want to take anything just as it comes out, as it spits out, but you can figure out so much once you know your brand strategy. You can plug that in to say, I'm training you to be my brand voice and my messaging and understanding my ideal clients. And I know these are their pain points. So keep all of that in mind when you tell me X, Y, or Z, right?
Yes. I mean, I love that you're going to add that in because it is such a thing. My team has actually built the Lesley bot, which is like,
cool.
It's trained on 10 million of my words. So like people can literally ask it any Pilates business question. It literally, it's first of all, she's uplifting. She validates you. She repeats what you said. She points out what's really great. And then she gives you things and then questions. And people are like, I don't want to use it. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm amazed at what she is spitting out. She spits out way more than I can. I couldn't do it as fast as she can, and she's trained on me. So it's all my stuff. But also they've used the ChatGPT and things that are out there to be like, okay, here's some written work by her. Here is who we're talking to. Here's what this is. And now we need to tell people about X, Y, and Z. And them doing it, like, first of all, I had some things, like they didn't even tell me they were doing this because they heard me one time say, I'm never going to let you do that. I love to write, because I do. I love to write. But I will say they finally showed it to me. And it's kind of amazing because it gets out. Sometimes we get in our own head, and especially talk about the rut and the energy. If your energy is nervous or scared, or this has to work, and if it doesn't work, I'm like, my business is failing. That energy is not going to help you write and tug on
No.
the heartstrings. It's actually in the way. And so you almost need to use
The extra help. Yeah, a little
yes.
helping hand. I agree. And by the way, let's back up a second. Everything you just said that you preface, like, it knows this about me and this about me. All of that you just said that it knows that you had to put in there to explain to create this bot, that's your brand strategy.
Yes.
That's part of your brand strategy. It's knowing enough about your brand to be able to explain it to someone, whether it's an AI tool or it's someone you're hiring for your business or it's someone on your team. It's the only way you can create and present a consistent brand. And honestly, consistency is one of the pieces that creates the magic for your brand, because I promise you, not everybody out there is being consistent. And when you can be, you show up for people in a whole new light.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, consistency is so hard in general. Let's just take your branding out of it. Just being consistent with your morning routines or consistent in your life. It's not easy.
No.
But it is actually proven that when you are consistent with anything, you actually get what you want out of it.
It's so true. And I don't know why it's so hard. It just is. I mean, even with a Pilates practice, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, people are like,
Yeah.
I'm going to come once a week. I'm like, that's great. You can never miss. And if you never miss, that is consistent, but more would be better, like that would be consistent. But I think like people have a hard time with that. And so if people do what you say and they're focused on the energy and they're pulling the heartstrings and they're being consistent, what is a reasonable timeline for them to know if it's working? What are the KPIs that they're using? Because to me, it can't be vanity metrics all the time. It can't just be like, oh, I got this many likes. Because if you're new to getting followers, you're not going to get 1 million likes on things. Like no one's going viral like that anymore, unless it's like some dog video that's, pushing beer.
Yeah.
Like,
so true.
How do you do that? Because that you got to keep the energy up and the belief up. So what do you think?
I mean, honestly, the biggest KPI is, are you booking clients? I mean, that's the biggest one, right? But also you can look at things like if you're creating a funnel, right? And you're introducing or inviting people into your brand, what's that first stop? What's that entry level thing? What's that free resource or lead magnet or low ticket offer? Are people buying that? Because you showing up saying, hey, I know you need this right now, so let me tell you how to do that for either only this much money, a teeny bit, or let me give this to you for free because I know this is on your mind right now. And if I relax your mind and you can make your shoulders go down about this whole topic and you get some quick wins because I gave you this thing, then you're going to be more apt to come and find out more from me, from that brand. Yeah. Right. And so I think that is a very good tool. Like if your freebie is flying off the shelf, right? Yeah. Whatever it might be, off the digital shelf even, then that's a very good indicator. Now, there might be other things to tweak along the way if then that's not converting into clients. But you always have the opportunity to, I think, first connect with your audience on a level that they care about. Because here's the other thing. You are the expert in what you do, right? But you could get caught up in your expertise and not necessarily say it the way your ideal client is going to understand right now, right? A lot of my ideal clients, they don't know that brand strategy is the solution. They don't even know that.
Right.
Right. And so you have to speak to them in the way they're talking about it, saying like, gosh, I feel like my messaging is all over the place, or I don't really know how to talk about my business in a way that the right people get it. Like, what do I do about that? So some might think I need to hire a copywriter. That could be a solve. But a lot of times people just haven't figured out the base foundation, solid brand strategy that leads to all the aligned messaging, aligned offers, positioning that makes you stand out. And so it's a lot of education on my part too, right? Yeah. It's like people just, like we started at the beginning, people sometimes just think it's colors and logo.
Yeah.
And it's not.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate you reminding us, like, you have to know your business so well that you are an expert at what you do, or at least for who you help, and you have to treat yourself as such, but also then you have to talk to people who aren't not understand that expertise. And that's it's really, really hard. An example is like a lot of Pilates teachers that I work with, they're like, I just want to teach advanced clients. I want to teach athletes because they know how to move their body. And I'm like, so the majority of the people you'll work with don't know how to move their body. And so you can do that. And if you have connections to the NFL or the NBA in your town, by all means, go right ahead. They all need someone. But the reality is the most of us have to teach the public. and the
Mm-hmm.
public in your area. And so there are people in your area who could become an advanced mover who don't know how to move their body yet. And so you cannot talk to them like people who move their body because they don't know that. They don't know that that's a
Yeah.
solution to their problem. They don't know that's the thing that's going to make them feel good. They don't know that that's the thing that's going to make them feel confident. And so people do talk in the wrong way and then they go, no one's listening. And
Yeah. I have a funny double-edged sword with my brand where people love the fact that I have worked for Disney and that grounds me as an expert in what I do because I worked for a brand like that. But then that can also lead people to think, well, I can't approach her.
Oh,
Right.
right.
And so a lot about my brand is being very friendly and approachable and welcoming and inviting to say, like, I just did this, just a 1 week freebie last week where I offered my list. And I think I did it maybe on Instagram too. I said, just for a week, submit a question. I'm going to record a video response, just one branding question that you would like an answer to. And I will do a video response for you. And so I was recording video responses all week long and people were like, how are you giving this away for free? I'm like, well, number one, it shows me exactly what my audience is thinking. So back to your point of like, how do you tug their heartstrings? It's knowing where they're at right now. And so every once in a while, getting in touch and doing a temperature check and asking, what's the thing that you would really like some help with right now? And all the questions were so different.
Yeah.
So it was
Also
great.
brilliant. Everyone, you should steal that as a thing you can do is, be like a free because you do find out what are they thinking about.
Yeah. That was my whole point. It's like market research, but also it's me connecting with my audience too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you stay in touch and you actually form these real relationships, maybe they're not going to book your service right now, but they're going to remember that and they're going to come back when they really, really need your help.
Yeah. And that's the other hard part, right, of being a brand that is consistent.
Yeah.
You have to be consistent. You have to make sure that they understand what you're there for and stay top of mind. So when they're ready to pull the trigger, they remember you.
Yeah. I mean, there are also other tactics, right? You can try to make them see that they need it now versus later. There's other things to do, but still, like you still might get oh, this has been so fantastic. Let me go off and try this, or let me do this and I'll come back, when I'm ready, or if I need, so you never know where someone's at. But, I've had people who I had a call with, 6 months prior, and they come back and they're like, boom, I'm ready. Here's my money. Let's go. This is the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just never know.
Yeah. No, it's very true. And I think thank you for sharing that because we've had the same thing. When I worked in retail, I worked in high-end accessories. And so of course there'd be the people who came up and obviously we made sales throughout the day that would be affordable prices on $50 gifts, $100 gifts, like that kind of a thing. But, we really had to sell like a $2,000 ring every once in a while, ideally every week. And there'll be people who will just come in and go, can I try that on? Oh my God, I love this. And I would be like, oh, have you seen it before? Because they're like about to buy it. Like, no, it's the first time and I just really love it. And they'll just buy it.
Yeah.
And there's other people who come and look at it for 6 months and they're looking at it and they're putting it on. Okay, my birthday's in 6 months. And then they come back and they get it. And so it's like, everyone is a little bit different, even in a brand that you're trying to attract. Yeah. And so, the patience that it takes, but also the belief in what you do. Do you have tools that you use to remind yourself why you do what you do? You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking about the people getting ruts and there are bad days. There's days where I'm like, is anyone listening? Even though I have tons of evidence that we're doing a great job, there's just some days where I'm just getting hit over the head and getting a lot of rejection. So
that's just human. That's just human. And that's just the cyclical nature of business as well. But I think for me, it's always coming back to trusting my intuition and trusting myself. Right? Which is hard for some people, right? And it's keeping the belief. So whether it be brand affirmations, right? Just like you might do abundance affirmations or anything, it's talking to yourself in a way, and especially if you're having those negative thoughts, it's just like pulling those negative thoughts to the forefront, noticing them and reframing them so that you're not like stopping your energy flow, like we were talking about earlier. But I always use intuition as sort of my own compass. And I think when you give yourself room and space to just listen, because there's so many times, especially with branding, where you're looking externally for the answers in terms of, I'm looking at this brand of this competitor in my industry, and oh my gosh, why can't I come across that way? Or you're just looking for answers elsewhere, when a lot of times if you just ask and you receive the guidance internally. In fact, you know what I just created this week that your audience might love is I created for the first time a meditation for my audience. It's a brand vision guided meditation.
Yes,
So it's
we're
like
in. We want.
anytime. So it's whether you're starting from scratch or you're an established business, it helps you with clarity. It helps you kind of step away from overthinking about your brand. So you're coming out of your head and into your heart, which is what we want from your brand. We want to be in the heart space. It helps you like envision the essence of your brand, how it feels, who it attracts, what makes it unique, but also like giving you some clarity on your deeper purpose and that message you want to share. So I go through all 7 chakras for your brand in the meditation. It's a 20-minute meditation. And you just come away with whatever downloads you get, but you can do it as many times as you want, right?
Oh
You
my
might get
God.
something new every time.
Yes, we must link this. And this is amazing. Yes, I want that. And then also, I mean, I feel like you need to do some brand affirmation cards. Like, I feel like you need I think you have like a deck in you.
Yeah. Well, you know, what's funny is I used to do it when I've gone back and forth on how I've done my online course. Sometimes I run it as a group program. And when I do that, I would put these brand affirmations as just like posts in our community Facebook group all the time. So I'm like, I should aggregate all those because it's very helpful. And then it even like clues you into a little bit of what you could focus on today for your brand kind of thing.
Yes, I love that. I mean, my goodness, that could be its own lead magnet, or you could actually sell them as a deck you could draw. And it's like, this is what, I like a deck of any kind.
I do too.
I just find them to be so fun. I don't even know what half the things mean. Currently, I drew a card from a deck and it's a porcupine with lightning bolts and stars. And I'm like, unclear what I'm supposed to get from that, but I'm just going to say you can have little things that can prick people and you can be magical at the same time. I don't know what that card means, but like,
well, I would immediately look up the spiritual meaning of a porcupine.
Okay. Well, thank you for that tip. Yeah. It takes, as we've mentioned a couple of times, it's the constant belief in yourself. You almost have to have a good, healthy dose of narcissism, if there could be any kind of healthy narcissism, to remember that you're amazing. Yeah. And since most of us who are listening to this are not narcissists, you wouldn't be being it till you see it. If you just think you are. Like, so congratulations, you're not, if you're listening to this, but I think having some sort of reminder of who you are, why you do it, what you do, like we need those things for those bad days.
We do. It's amazing because I even remember back to my first brand clarity in-person workshop that I did. And I just found the workbook the other day and I opened it up and the first page, I actually put the song, I Believe from The Wiz, which was the song that my theater company would sing every night before we went on to perform. So that I believe in you, right? That's the main message of the whole song, but like it's a whole thing. But I put all the lyrics in there because I was like, this is so true. If you don't believe in your brand, why would someone else?
Yeah.
Why would someone else? And you're putting your brand out into the world and you're not like asking people to love it. You're serving people. You're saying, I have this knowledge or expertise or product, whatever kind of business you have. And I know this helps you do this. It's worked for me. It's worked for so many others. It can help you too if this is what you're struggling with. Here it is, right? You never think about, if you're in the grocery store, you don't yell at the grocery store because they're trying to upsell you at checkout with gum and candy. You're like, I might want some today. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? People sell to you all the time. You're on tons of email lists you don't even realize because you wanted the 20% off.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's all sales, it's all business. People are used to that. People are used to people asking for the sale because they would never imagine that if they expect value in return, that they wouldn't give you that reciprocal energy back.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. I love that you pointed out, we don't yell at the grocery store. We just we end up buying the stuff half the time, and one of my old coaches, she was joking. She did this little fitness challenge and there was an add-on that you could, it's called the bump. Everyone, there's a bump at the cart that you could add that on.
Yeah.
And then they got to check. I was like, well, here's a one-time offer. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to add that to cart. And then it's like, oh, well, if you got this, herere's this other one-time offer. And she got that. And at the end, she's like, Jill, I just want to pay. I went from a $17 thing to paying you $217. She wasn't angry about it. She was laughing because the reality is if you know exactly what your client wants, then first of all, you get to sell it to them. And you're not a manipulative asshole because what you're giving them is what they wanted. It's going to solve the problem that they have. And you are the expert who can do that. And they get what they need. Otherwise, someone else is going to sell them something shitty that, because they didn't hear about you. They didn't hear that you existed. They don't hear what you have. And so you kind of owe it to them to not let the competitor who's not as good as you getting into their headspace.
That's so right. And that's where consistency comes in too, right? It's like your competitor might be, 10 steps behind you, but they're selling out because they're showing up.
Yeah.
So don't let the lack of that. I've been seeing all these Instagram accounts lately for like the introvert business where you don't show your face, right? So it's all these Instagram feed posts where it's just like the backs of people's heads or just like quotes and things. And that is like going gangbusters for whatever reason. I'm sure they're tapping into heartstrings all over the place, right? But it's just so interesting because here's the thing. There's so many ways to do it. But what you have to start with every time is understanding your business, your brand, so that no matter what strategy you want to employ for marketing or copywriting or website design, whatever it is, that it still feels like your brand.
Yeah.
For your audience.
And I think that's so key. Like, one of the things when we coach Pilates instructors, we're like, okay, who are you helping? Why do you want to help these people? How do you help them? I mean, there are people who don't sign up for our program because they can't get past that question. I just need more clients. I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now, there are 17 clients outside for you. You could get probably half of them if you could articulate how you can help them. And so you don't even have to care about it. You could just, if you could just articulate how you can help them, if that's how they want to be helped, they'll buy from you. You're holding yourself back by getting stuck and making it complicated. I mean, it is complicated, but also I think it's about being honest with ourselves. Why am I doing this? And, and I think some people might even feel maybe it's not enough to just want to help those people. Like, I feel like there's this pressure that we're all putting on these brands. And so we don't get these ideas off. I wanted to have you on because I know we have so many listeners who are business owners or want to be business owners, and they do not get their business to the next step year after year. They're stuck in the same place because they won't just sit and answer those questions about that you've talked about in different ways that will help them identify so that they can be consistent.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I say this a lot too. It's like, don't wait for perfection because it can't be perfect unless you put it out there to get feedback from your actual ideal clients, right? You can't tweak it unless like you've seen what resonates with them most. So you can't be scared to start either. Like it doesn't have to be perfect to start. You just have to be able to articulate some things about your business, what you do, who it's for, the benefit that they can take away from working with you, and maybe how you're different from other people in your industry.
Yeah, I love that because also I find when people ask me what Pilates is, I have a succinct answer and I have teachers going, oh my God, I just love the way you describe it. I'm like, do you think that's how it came out the first time?
Right.
No, it didn't. It was like a fucking paragraph. And I was like, well, I got to shorten that. You watch people's eyes glaze over or like they start to look around the room and you're like, I've lost them. That's, I've got to figure out like, how do I succinctly say who it is, what I do and how I do it so that if this person is interested, they stick around. And if they're not, neither of us are wasting our time. But to your point, you got to get something out there and try it out and say it out loud and get the feedback where people go, oh, it's like yoga. And it's like, oh, okay. I didn't explain it very well because I explained it like yoga. So like that,
Yeah. Then you can perfect. That's where the perfecting, meaning the tweaking comes in so that they understand even. So you're more clear and you can then make it more compelling for them as well.
Okay. So I love you. And we've done so much greatness because you make me want to like dig into my branding all the time. I'm just like, okay,
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's just really fun. What are you most excited about right now? Do you ever wonder, like, has everyone figured out branding? Are you? So what are you most excited about right now? And then you say that the world needs you more than ever. What's going on in the branding world?
I do think it's been shown over the last few years how valuable it is to not just run a business, but to build a brand, because it's brands that people fall in love with, follow, want to keep coming back to. And that's what you want to have a long-lasting business. It means that you've articulated what you care about. Maybe there's shared values involved. People today really care about who they're buying from and consuming from. And so they want to know that you're someone that they trust and that you have some of the same beliefs or hopes or dreams. It matters. And your brand strategy expresses that.
Yeah.
about your brand. I just heard someone the other day mistakenly say something about, oh, I'm eating Ben and Jerry's, but I don't really like what they believe. I was like, wait, have you actually gone to their website to see all the amazingness that they do for the social causes for their, and they went and they're like, oh, they didn't know that. They had heard something and then mistakenly thought, oh, but I really shouldn't be eating Ben and Jerry's. I was like, no. So
Yeah, no.
anyways, it's
Everyone
like
keep eating the Ben and Jerry's. They're, saving the world.
keep eating the Ben and Jerry's. Yeah, no, I think branding is more necessary than ever. And I will say this too, because I do have clients who come back to me again and again. So there's, one phase of brand strategy, which is developing your entire brand strategy. And then it's coming back as you're evolving and growing. So I just had a husband and wife couple come back, and I've worked with their two brands separately, and now they're kind of combining into one. And they wanted to come up with, who is our niched audience now? Because we feel like we've spread ourselves a little too thin. What are our offers? Because we want to be known for the offers we're creating, and we want a signature one too. So that's what I did with them. We said, here's exactly who your audience is. And now because of that, we know exactly what they need. And here's the first thing they need. Here's what it's called. Here's how we're positioning it. Here's how we're pricing it. Here's the promise for what they get. And we did that with 3 different offers, and they launched within 30 days and made $45,000. So because they got so clear that they understood exactly how to sell it.
Yeah. You can just
right?
it's almost like you're like speeding up the process.
Yeah.
And it can feel like you're slowing down to take some time to go through this and get the clarity, but also then it just speeds up the process because once you're so clear, people know that you're for them or that you're not.
That's right.
I heard from another Hilary, who's a dear friend of mine, that if you've paid attention to human design, so right now, like obviously if you're into astrology, we're now, in Aquarius and all that stuff, and that's its own unique energy about people. But if you believe in human design, we've been in the generator type of person for a really long time, which is very capitalistic. It's very like,
I'm a generator.
Yeah, I'm a generator too. And I was like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think we kick ass. But anyways.
No, we work hard.
We work hard. We do things. But apparently like we're going into a projector type world. And I was interested in that because one projector that I know, I felt like they just project their shit onto you. And so she's a projector and she doesn't do that. She actually is able to zero in and like, oh, this is what you're telling me. This is what I'm seeing, and hones it in really well. But what she said is, in a projector world, it becomes not individualistic in that we don't help people. We're not in a community, but that individual brands, individual businesses are going to be the thing that people are focusing on, wanting to spend their time on. We're seeing this right now as people are like, oh, I'm boycotting these brands over here because they don't represent my values. And so then finding smaller businesses who do. And so just the way you just talked about things and this whole conversation, where the world is turning now more than ever is the opportunity for all of us to shine, to not be in the shadows of these big brands who are making things either super cheap or super for the masses, but for like your individual thing, your idea can actually work. And we talked about this in the first episode. You all have to go back and listen to it. But even if you don't have a business, you have a brand, because how people think about you, what they feel when they're with you, all of that stuff is in there. And so I just really adore how you make branding feel like it's like sexy. I want to do it.
I actually think, I'm biased, but I do think branding is sexy, and it's you getting to really choose, right? It's your choice. It's your brand. What do you want to build? What do you want to leave your mark as, right? And it's not just mark as a logo. It's the legacy. It's the impression. It's what lasts.
Yeah.
Forever. I mean, there's all different kinds of examples of branding and brands and stuff, but what's cool about it is it's meant to be different. So you get to decide how you want to be different and make sure that that's what resonates with your audience. Because it's not all about you either, right? It comes from you. It starts with you. You're defining it. You're shaping it, but you're shaping it for your audience. And so being really clear on that as well, because you said there's so many people who get stuck and stopped there, which is why there's been 500,000 ideal client worksheets and identify your target audience. And it seems like, okay, I know that. But when people really get down to it, they need to redefine it every time for themselves to say like, no, this is really who I know I serve. It's just like the 2 clients who came back to me, they served so many different kinds of people, but they decided, no, who we serve best are coaches. And that's what they went with.
Yeah.
Right. And being so specific helps the brand become more relevant, more resonant, and more compelling for people to understand it, get it, and buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Hilary. Well, another amazing conversation with you. We're going to take a brief break, even though I could talk to you forever, and find out what people can find you, follow you, meditate with you. All right.
Yes.
So where do you hang out, Hilary? Where is this meditation? Where can they work with you?
I would say 2 places. First, my website. So it's hilaryhartling.com, HILARYHARTLING.com. If you go to the announcement bar on my homepage, you click and you download the free meditation. The other place I'm always hanging out is Instagram, and it's the same. It's at Hilary Hartling, no spaces, no dots, no nothing. And the meditation is also linked in my bio on Instagram. So you can go grab it for free right now.
I think that's beautiful, as are you. Thank you so much. Before I let you go, you've given us a lot to think about, but bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted steps people can take to be it till they see it. What do you have for us?
Figure out what excites you and follow it. So when you can wake up excited, you are in your flow. When you're in your flow, you not only attract what you want, but you become a magnet for the best people, opportunities, and growth.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God. That's so succinct and so wonderful and absolutely useful in everything. You guys, how are you going to use tips in your life? Share this with a friend who wants to start something. Share this with a friend who has a business. This could literally be the conversation they need to hear to actually reach the people they want to reach. And Daniel Pink said, if what you do solves a person's problem and takes them out of pain, you have a moral obligation to sell it to them. Moral obligation. And the only way that they can hear about you is if you've gone through the things that Hilary is talking about. And so let her help you. And until next time, be it till you see it. That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.